During the American Industrial Revolution, work conditions were terrible. There was no oversight in business and no minimum wage. Also, child labor was a huge source of labor in industry. Robber barons were known to take short-term losses to benefit from small companies. Is this a problem with the free market, or have I just not educated myself about the era enough? That's from David.
Hello, David. How you doing
Hi,
tonight?
Stefan. I'm good. How are you?
Good.
First of all, I'd like to clarify. This was a point brought up by a friend of mine. This is not my own personal opinion. I'm very pro free market myself. But this is just something that I didn't know a whole lot about, and hopefully you can clarify the issue to me.
It's too. You couldn't get your friend to come on the show, right?
No, it's too bad. This is a
It's too bad.
internet friend, or else I would have definitely yes.
You know, this show goes out over the internet. You
Yeah,
can do it.
yes, but let's just say that he's not very open to opposing opinions. I don't think he would be very happy doing this.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So, listen. I mean, I've already done the rebuttals of the 19th century. You know, like people say, do you know that children worked in the 19th century compared to what? Compared to the 15th century? You know, a lot of children didn't work in the 15th century because they were dead.
Okay.
Look,
Yes.
look, we've solved the problem of child labor by putting them in the ground. Isn't that lovely? So the fact that children were alive, but working 12 or 14 or 16 hours a day in a factory, is not the fault of the free market. I mean, children worked all throughout history. Do you think there was some farm in France in the 14th century where they said, no, no, let us not put the children into the fields, even though we're probably all starving to death on a regular basis. Oh, here comes another wave of the Black Death. Oh, what a shame. No, let us put them in hammocks until they're 18 and make sure that we teach them Latin and Greek and make sure that they can read their Aeschylus and Ovid so that we don't disturb them with any nasty pulling up of crops. You know, I mean, this is what happened. It was like, oh, are you 4 days out of the womb? Here's a backhoe. Get busy and don't pull your diapers off at the same time. Oh, actually, no, do, because we need your baby shit to fertilize the soil. Otherwise, we're going to starve to death too.
Oh,
Jesus.
all right.
So compared to what, right? Compared to the pre-industrial revolution, it's an IQ test. And I'm not talking about you, your friend. It's an IQ test. And people say to you, oh, well, you see that with all these sad-eyed children working in mines in the 19th century. Well, that's bad. Okay, what was their alternative? Where would they have been in the 14th century? Why were there not lots of children working in the 14th century? Can I give you a hint? Because they were dead. Infant mortality declined in the 19th century. Number of calories consumed, wages went up. Oh, there was soot. And soot is sooty and bad. Okay, yes, there was soot. Still, life expectancy increased. Why? Because soot is much better than the plague. And soot is much better than cholera and typhus and all that other shit that went on throughout most of human history. And so life expectancy kept going up, and it really laid the foundation for the wealth of the 20th century. The wealth, of course, which was successively destroyed in the First World War and the Second World War, and we still have a fair amount of money rolling around and a fair amount of wealth rolling around. So you just look at the GDP of the planet. You can find this online. Don't need me to. Look at the GDP of the planet. You know, the dawn of time until about 1780 or 1770. Flatline, baby. There's no life in the patient, and pretty much 10 to 15% of the European population could die at any given year because of starvation, or plague, or war, or any combination of the above. And the roads were so bad, you could have a town that was drowning in food, they'd throw crap out, and then like 5 miles and people starving to death and nobody knew. So that's sort of the first thing is just look at the flatlined and then it blows up, right? And it blows up and the free market comes in. So that's no, I mean, I don't want to go through all the factual rebuttals, like the robber barons. I mean, come on. Come on. I mean, if I write a history of slavery called The Nasty Niggers, wouldn't people think that there's a little bit of prejudice there? Now, if you write a history of economic development in the 19th century and include the phrase robber barons, you're not a historian, you're a propagandist.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
You know, it's like, here's a history of Japan. entitled "Those Slant-Eyed Sons of Satan." It's like, I think that you're maybe showing your bias a little bit there. So first of all, they weren't robbers. They were
that's
capitalists.
a viewpoint I share with you, that they didn't really rob from anyone, but
No, it's not like they didn't really rob from anyone.
They didn't rob. It was capitalism. They were doing what is best for
they
their
were,
business.
They were producing. They were producing goods and services that people really wanted. Now, occasionally they'd use the government and so on, but much less than they do today, because there was much smaller government with much less power, right?
Yes, exactly.
And so first and foremost, the moment somebody uses the word robber barons, first of all, they weren't robbers, they weren't thieves, they were producing capitalists who were satisfying the market demand in a voluntary fashion. Like, those rich people accumulated so much money by making other people happier. Those bastards. So they weren't robbers, and they weren't barons, because there's no aristocracy in America. And that's mostly what people are talking about. So they're using two phrases that have nothing to do with the actual economic and political conditions, and that should immediately disqualify them from any further inclusion in rational conversation. Like, you can point it out. Were they thieves? No. Remember the Rockefellers, the Carnegies and so on, they generally achieved their money not through Clinton-esque political bullshit, but they achieved their money by satisfying demand in the marketplace. Oh, and by the way, saving the whales, right? Because people used to use whale blubber, which caused whales to vanish from the oceans. They used to use whale blubber to mostly light, a little bit of heat, mostly to light their homes. And kerosene was developed and came along. I can't remember who it was, but one of these robber barons came along, and kerosene was far cheaper. And the people who developed the oil magnates, the reason that they got so much money was that they were incredibly efficient. They outcompeted everyone else, which meant that they provided more oil for less money to the people. And so this idea that you're an evil guy because you make people happier, I mean, it's insane. It's insane. And so this robber baron thing, it's just a way of priming people with negative associations. Oh, they were thieves, they were rich, and it's a way of just provoking class envy. It's a way of provoking class envy. And again, it comes down to people not having a clue about IQ. These guys were geniuses. Look, genius takes many forms. There's musical genius, engineering genius, artistic genius, writing genius, philosophy genius. Genius takes many forms. There is productivity genius. Productivity genius. And we know some of these people around, the people who just make amazing stuff and really, really make people happy. It's hard to go to the goddamn iPhone store, right? Go to the Apple store, and people are lining up for 4 days to get the new iPhone. Go up to them and say, Apple's evil. They're just exploiting you, right? I mean, they're lining up for 4 days. Jesus. Anyway, so I don't want to get into all of the factual rebuttals. People have written about them so much. Go to Mises.org, look this stuff up. It's been rebutted so many times that I don't want to bother with it. I want to give you another approach where you don't have to look up a thing. I'm aiming to put Google out of business by giving people principles. So do you mind if I just give you like a minute or two on how I would respond to this? Do you want to pretend to be your friend?
Yes, sure, absolutely.
Okay, good, because, it's supposed to be a conversation. So, okay, so you give me this speech, right?
Yes.
And I would say to you, okay, where does this criticism in general come from? Does it come from capitalists or Republicans, or does it generally come from socialists?
Well, this is generally, I would say, a socialist issue, right? This is
okay, fantastic.
People that dislike people that have become successful from their business practices.
Yeah, I don't want you to psychologize, like just pretend to really be him. He probably wouldn't say that.
No,
right?
No, he would not say that.
Okay, so he'd say this criticism comes from the left. It comes from socialists,
so
right?
Yes, it comes from socialists.
Okay, fantastic. So then I would say, so socialists are really concerned with the well-being of humanity, right? Which is why they criticize pretty much the time of the greatest economic growth in human history and the foundation for the wealth of the modern world. They criticize 19th century America, robber barons and exploitation and child labor and blah, 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 right?
Yes.
And so socialists are really, really concerned with the health and well-being of humanity. So this is why they, of all the times throughout history and all the places across the world, this is where they choose to focus on. A time when workers are getting richer, when child labor is ending for the first time in human history, when slavery is ending, when the emancipation of women is well underway. This is the time period they choose to attack. And I would say to this socialist, and I would say to you if you were playing a socialist, do you think that 19th century America was better for human beings in America than, say, Stalinist Russia?
Well, I don't know his exact opinion, but I would say yes, because that is common sense to say yes, it is much better, or it was.
Yeah, and anyone who says that's not true, again, is just an ideologue so far up their own ass that they might as well bring a flashlight and a helmet and to give themselves a colonoscopy, right?
Yes.
And so I would say, okay, of all the societies in the world across history, past, present, where would you rank 19th century America in terms of destructive effects on human life? I would just ask them to rank that, because they're choosing to focus on this, right?
Would it be in the top 100? No.
It would not be in the top 1,000.
Agreed. Okay.
Right? I mean, there's hundreds, 280 or whatever it is countries right now, but God, I mean, which way are the footprints heading in the planet? You know, it's not to Qatar. It's not to Saudi Arabia, right?
Absolutely.
And so why would you focus on this, right? I mean, there's so many other cultures and countries, right? Why aren't you focusing on the 30 million people murdered by Chairman Mao just as part of the Great Famine and associated disasters? Or the 10 million Ukrainians murdered by the forced collectivization of the farms under Stalinist Russia? Or the, what is it, 100 million people killed by communism in the 20th century alone. You can look up the big black book of communism for more on this, right? What about 1940s Germany, right? Which was the National German Workers, oh, wait for it, Socialist Party was the Nazi party. Socialist Party. You know, the communists and the socialists were fighting it out. Yay, Germany, yay, Europe, right? So of all, I'd ask them, okay, quick, sort by destruction to human life, where is 19th century America? And if they say, well, it's really high up, then they say, well, there were a lot of really stupid immigrants around, weren't they?
Mm.
Because everybody was trying to get to America. I mean, they were riding the backs of great white sharks to try and get to America. I don't care if I lose 4 fingers, I'm sure I can buy new ones in America, right? Everybody and their dog was trying to get into 19th century America.
Yes.
So then they were all completely retarded with their own lives and futures, but you, as a socialist, are really, really smart at figuring out just how bad 19th century America was, even though just about everyone in the world tried to get in. So I would simply say, why are you focusing on 19th century America? Now, there's a reason why socialists must focus on 19th century America, because it puts a complete lie to all of the socialist theories. According to the socialist theories, everyone should have been getting poorer. Why? Because the capitalists owned the means of production. Everyone should have been getting poorer. Everyone should have been dying. Everyone should have been starving to death. Disease should have been rampant. Society should have been collapsing. Everything should have been a complete disaster. Instead, things were getting better and better, right?
Yes.
So that's why they have to go and slander this one time, because they don't want you to look at the facts, because the facts deny the efficacy of socialism. And it's inhumane, ghastly, sociopathic shit, frankly, to focus on the one of the few times in human history where the workers were getting richer, where society was getting richer, and ignoring and literally stepping over 100 million bodies to go and say, you know, the fact that they were selling kerosene cheaper makes them really bad people.
How dare they?
100 million fucking bodies for your socialist paradise. You stepping all over them. You know, that guy who founded libraries and opened them to the public for free, he was a robber baron. Really? Chairman Mao, Stalin, the Khmer Rouge, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, are you basing your philosophy on the fact that someone beat you up with the Monopoly character with the monocle? I mean, are you kidding me? How many bodies are you going to step over to bitch about 19th century America, which everyone tried to get in? You know, lots of people trying to get out of Russia. Lots of people died trying to get out of Russia. Lots of people died trying to get over the Berlin Wall to get out of Germany. Tens of thousands of people have died trying to get out of fucking Cuba to get to America. And you're like, America's really bad. You sons of bitches, you unholy, unfeeling, human-hating, murderous, fascist bastards. That is the one place you should be praising if you give a shit about human beings and any kind of success that they can achieve. That is the one place you should be going saying, wow, we've really got to learn from this, because that is the time when the workers got richer after approximately 1 billion years of starvation. This is the time when the workers got richer. This is the time when people got better. This is the time when society got freer. This is where everyone tried to get to. Let's go and learn from that. But what you'd learn from that is socialism is a murderous machine of human disassembly, and capitalism is a glorious rocket to a brighter future. And they don't want to say that. They don't want to say that because they don't understand IQ. And the reason they don't understand IQ is they're fucking stupid. Stupid people don't understand IQ. Listen, nobody should give me all of Apple stock because there's way better people at maximizing the value of Apple than me, because I'm focusing on a different area. In the same way, they should not give Tim Cook the world's biggest philosophy show because he'll drive it into the ground. The allocation of scarce resources to the most competent people is exactly what anyone who cares about human life should be focused on. Getting our scarce resources into the hands of the people who can do the most with them and make the most out of them is exactly, if we care about human life and not being some parasitical, remora, sucking blood vampire arsehole taking the life out of the future. If we really care about human life, we say, what conceivable system could we have that puts the most of our scarce resources into the hands of those who can do the best with them? That is the free market. Like it or not, the free market relentlessly pushes resources to high IQ people who can maximize their value. That's what the free market does. It says, high IQ, here you go. Low IQ, not so much. Smart, take this stuff. Dumb, don't take this stuff. Now, dumb people, if they weren't dumb, would say, well, of course, dumb people, because they're dumb, they say, well, that's not fair. He's getting a big mansion, and I've only got to live in this apartment. I only get a trailer. Yeah, better than a fucking cave, isn't it? And if you don't let the rich guys have the mansion, you don't even get the apartment. You want a cure for cancer? How about we give our resources to the people who are the very best at figuring out a cure for cancer? That's only going to happen through the free market. It ain't going to happen because Joe Biden's doing shit. Relentless reallocation of resources to those who can best maximize them. That is what the free market does. That is what the free market relentlessly does. And idiots get resentful because they're too stupid to know that giving the most resources to the smartest people benefits the stupidest people and the least competent people the most. And yes, I am fully cognizant now that I am calling people stupid in a podcast. This came up a couple of weeks ago. I've crossed the Rubicon. I have. I watched Making a Murderer. I'm not turning back, baby. So yes, apologies to the prior caller. I am now calling people stupid. And that is, now, stupid is a gene set that wants to survive, though. And stupid is a gene set that doesn't want to wait a year or two for the smart people to come up with the next cool thing to distract stupid people from being stupid.
Absolutely.
Can I get an Xbox so I don't have to look into my one-tooth, neck-bearded, idiotic, blank-eyed, vacant stare of drooling nothing-headness? Give me an Xbox. I'm sorry, you're going to have to allow smarter people to have resources so that you can get an Xbox in a year. No! I want something now because I'm stupid. So the free market will take shit out of poor people's hands and stupid people's hands. Not that they're always the same, but they're not always opposite. Right? So the free market will it's like you take the candy away from the baby. No, you can't handle that. You can't take the chainsaw away from the toddler. Can't handle it. That's something that's never get on an AFV because they're going to behead themselves. Take the steak knives away from the toddlers and give it to the sous chefs because they can do something with it other than cut a third nostril into the side of their head. So this is what the free market is, gently taking stuff out of dumb people and giving it to smart people. And what the smart people build benefits everyone. benefits everyone. An idiot with an IQ of 70 can work a cell phone now. They sure as hell couldn't work a univac back in the 50s.
Yes.
Didn't work that way, right? Right? And so I'm going to put numbers and you can dial. You can just push it now. You don't even have to wait for the dialer to go back round because you're too impatient. Right? So society relentlessly takes stuff out of dumb people's hands and puts it into smart people's hands if you have a free society. But the smart genes don't like that because they're too stupid to know that amazing benefits are going to come back if you let that process happen. So they just want shit in the here and now. And that's usually because they've made so many stupid decisions that they can't afford to wait. Right?
Absolutely.
So they've eaten too many fucking bumbleberry pies and now they've got diabetes. So they can't wait. Oh, don't worry, because if you let smart people have the medical resources, you'll get a cure for diabetes in a year or two. Yes, but then I'll have no feet, no eyes, and I'll be dead. So can't wait for that. Got to take shit away from smart people and give it to dumb people because dumb people have made too many stupid choices.
Use that new phone to call the welfare office. There you go.
Yeah, or well, I had 19 kids with a whole series of truckers. I never quite got their first names, let alone their last names, and I'm too dumb to remember their license plates, so I guess I need me some welfare and a little bit of Social Security. If you put these kids on some mind-altering drugs, it'd be fantastic. Oh, also need some public school, please. Oh, by the way, I also need some Obamacare because I got diabetes. I took in too much dick and sugar. And now I got too many kids and I can't find my vagina. I go down there, I go spelunking. Sometimes I drop down a bath escape. Whatever that is, still can't find it. The only people who can find my vagina is the next trucker, ain't me. I don't even know who that is anymore. What accent is that? I have no idea.
That was a great character. You really got into that.
Right. All I did was show Philippine bikini chicks to my trucker guys, and they all just left.
Oh.
I don't know what's going on. But I sure need some money from smart people because I made some really bad decisions. Oh, I went to college because they said if I go to college, I'll make a fortune. Now, I couldn't get into college that required any smart and braininess, so I had to go into something that didn't require whatever that word was and phrase was that used before that didn't mean nothing. So I got me a degree in can't read, can't really spell, can't make an argument to save my life. Makes that bald guy in Canada keep typing not an argument until he's basically got it as the only thing his computer does anymore. So I got me this degree. Turns out, ironic, if I knew what that meant, wouldn't it be? Turns out, after I got this degree, it turns out that smart people get degrees and then make money because they're smart. It's not because someone gave them a degree and made them smart. Interestingly enough, I also joined a basketball team. Didn't get any taller. So, hell, what am I going to do? I'm now $100,000 in debt. It turns out getting a bullshit degree didn't make me any more capable of doing anything other than making some rich guy a flat white latte. Flat white. What is that? Steph's singing style? Why, yes, it is. But anyway. So, as it turns out, I'm $100,000 in debt. I'm no smarter than I was before. My IQ didn't get raised by beginning a bullshit degree. So now what have I got to do? That's right. Feel the burn. Got to feel the burn. That guy's offering to get me out of my student loans, which I took because they said it'd make me a lot of money. Turns out it didn't raise my IQ, didn't make me any smarter. So now I got to go and, I don't know, suck the dick of some scraggly-haired old Jewish guy because he's going to get me out of my student loans. Isn't that going to be great? Oh, I can't wait. Because that way, he can take more money away from smart people, give it to me, and into the world.
Hey, that's their fair share, though, right? Fair share.
Yeah, no, it's Gary Johnson. Fuck feeling the burn. Feel the Johnson.
Feel the Johnson. I am with you on that, 100%.
Oh, by the way, completely unrelated. I heard a funny joke. Do you want to hear a funny joke?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, the anti-Donald Trump sentiment is so high in America these days. Turns out just yesterday, Donald Trump rescued a child from the African lion exhibit at a local zoo. Child fell in there. He dove in as Batman with his utility belt. He dove in. He rescued that child from the African lions. And you know what the newspapers reported?
What?
Donald Trump denies food to African immigrants.
Oh yeah, you have encapsulated the media right there in one joke. That's great. That
it is great. and yet terrible.
Yes, it's great because it's terrible.
African immigrants starve to death because Donald Trump steals their food supply. God help him if it was a white child. All right. So, yeah, I would just go back and ask them how they sort the iniquities of the planet and the societies, and you'll very quickly find out they have nothing to do. If socialists gave a shit about, oh no, child labor is really bad. Oh, you must be really against the national debt then, because that's child labor. It is. You are selling off the future productivity of children. Because there's no way, the current tax base cannot pay off the national debt. Cannot do it. It can't do it. There's no way. There's no way China lends $1 to America unless the future productivity of America's children is going to be sold to the Chinese. There's no way. No way. So the national debt is child labor. It is child labor. It's just deferred child labor. That's all. You're selling off the future productivity of your children in order to give some subsidies to Black Lives Matter. I don't know. How about Child Lives Matter? No, can't have a state of society if that's our dictum. And so that's what I ask socialists. Okay, wow, child labor really seems to bother you. How do you feel about the national debt? They don't like to answer that question because then they don't give a shit about children. What they care about is slandering capitalism by appealing to stupid prejudices about the 19th century, which is why you hear, oh, the Industrial Revolution, it was sooty, it was terrible, it was horrible, children worked, it's just sometimes it was 2 families to a room, and it's just terrible, right? Yeah, okay, it was terrible. And you know why? Capitalism invented photographs. And so you've got photographs of the 19th century. You don't have photographs of the Black Death. Otherwise, you'd look at the 19th century, you'd look at the Black Death, and you say, wow, 19th century is like a near infinite step up from those people who are being nailed shut in their own houses so they don't spread the plague, and they're all got to eat each other's rotting bodies to survive 4 more days.
That's a point. I never thought of that
19th
one.
Century. There's a little bit of soot. Yeah, there's a little bit of soot, but there's not fleas coming off rats from the Middle East that lay waste to 1/3 of the European population in just a couple of years. Because there was no photography in the 14th century because there was central planning and no free market.
Huh. That's a great point. That's not even something I thought of. We'd probably not even have these opinions if we had, some historical perspective to look back on.
Oh, yeah, you look at the 14th century, you see pictures of vaguely plump, strangely adult Jesuses cuddling in their mother's lap, and you get to see, wow, look at these frescoes. Wow, that's really cool. And it's like, yeah, it was a ghastly existence. I mean, the Monty Python guys, right, they're really smart guys, really well educated. And they got it right. You go watch Monty Python's Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yep.
Yeah. He must be a king. How do you know? Well, he hasn't got shit all over him. It's true.
That is my favorite quote from that movie. Yeah, I think that speaks volumes to just
all you need to know about the Middle Ages.
Yeah, exactly.
What a god-awful existence. It was not the Princess Bride, people. It was not Dungeons and Dragons.
You were either a king
it was
or covered
kissing
in
a
shit.
woman. It was kissing a woman who'd eaten raw meat for 20 years and never brushed her teeth. I don't know how people fucked in the Middle Ages. I literally, I lie awake at night imagining sex with some scabrous, small-pox-faced, half-boob hanging out, never brushed her teeth, never had any wet wipes for that farty shit. Whenever she sharted, it was basically just wipe your ass with a bore and try and keep walking. I mean, with no Kegel exercises had been invented yet, and basically she'd squeezed out so many pups that sex was more like spelunking than fucking. Echo. Any twins in here? Twins in here. I guess a blowjob with no teeth. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that. Holy shit! I mean, I remember many years ago when I was in college. I won't get into the details, but basically I was responsible for getting a class project, a university project. We went into one of the premier art collections of one of the richest guys in Canada, and he has a whole room devoted to art from the Black Death. Now, art, the psycho-epistemological reflection of reality that Rand talks about and so on, was really powerfully on display because this art was unbelievably horrendous. Like it made Megadeth album covers look like something out of Jane Austen, right? It was just unbelievable, gargoyles and eating and babies, and it's horrible, right? And then there was one, it was just a, I don't know how they did it. It was like a flat pearl-like substance, and you couldn't really see anything except when you moved past, you saw this face of near infinite sorrow, and then it would kind of blink out. It's sort of like a weird internal holograph. I had no idea how they did it. It was an amazing thing to have done so many years ago. But yeah, I don't know, what a ghastly situation. I mean, they thought bathing was bad for you.
Yeah, didn't they believe that the oil left on your skin was a protectant for bad things that would get into your body, right?
Yeah, and in some places they could have been right. Open cut, cholera, bye-bye. When you've got one out of every two kids dying, I mean, the brutality, the violence, everything stunk in a city in particular. And the farms, of course, are god awful. Everything stunk to high heaven, right? I've said this before. Some old French king opened the window to look out over Paris and fainted at the giant sky fart of shitty stench that was blown into his bedroom. It's good to be done. What a god-awful existence. I would rather be the poorest person in the modern world than the richest person, even in the late Middle Ages, even in the early Renaissance. Oh no, I have a toothache. Dead. I was reading a book about one of my ancestors, and William Molyneux, a friend of John Locke's. Guy had a UTI, I think. I don't know, it's hard to tell from the description. A urinary tract infection, which men can get as well as women. Died. Fucking dead. I hope the fever breaks. Because he wasn't in the South. And I hope that fever breaks. Right? I mean, dead. Oh dear. Some bacteria got into my urethra. And I'm dead. Now, what? It's like a fistful of antibiotics and you're fine.
Yeah.
No thanks. No thanks. So, yeah, I mean, life as an unbelievable human horror show in the past was unbelievable. STDs. Oh, no. Syphilis. I think I'm going to kiss horses and go mad. Have my sister take care of me of 10 years before my brain dies. That was Nietzsche, right? I mean, then one of the, Nietzsche went crazy. Yeah, because the one time he had sex, he got syphilis. Ooh, snake eyes. Bad penis time. It's all over. There's no amount of poontang that's good enough for that one time to give you a brain-rotting disease that turns you insane.
Maybe
you
if he had
super dead, encased in your own human armor of being unable to move yourself. Sorry?
Maybe if he had gone to the Philippines or Ukraine, he could have found a woman that was more beautiful and didn't have syphilis.
Yeah. At least it would have been better syphilitic sex, right? I mean, no, literally, this is what would happen. You get an STD and you'd be dead. Dead. And, I mean, it's endless. Every drink of water. Hope I don't die. Every single drink of water. Hope there's not some god-awful waterborne disease in here and I'm going to die. Oh, the nightmare. The nightmare. Listen, your cat is throwing up and you're fucking writing out your last will. Oh, wait, you can't, because you can't read or write, because you're a peasant, which was like 95% of the population, right? What a god-awful, nightmarish existence. People who don't wake up in the morning and kiss the gods of capitalism every single day are just people who either hate life or have no idea what the circumstances in the past were like and imagine that, it was all this bucolic, wonderful pastoral painting. Ansel Adams like it. It's very gloriousness of nature worship. Holy shit. Human beings have had a relentlessly abusive relationship with Mother Nature until they tamed that bitch and encased her in cities. Does that help?
Yeah, that helps. That answers everything completely. I am glad that you have a point of view on this that I just didn't know about.
Boycott capitalism, socialists. That way we'll never have to hear from you again. All right, I got to move on, but thanks for the call.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Please bring him on, and tell him if he out-argues me, I'll profusely apologize for calling anyone stupid, and he can really create a great victory for socialism in this call.
I will just tell him to listen to this podcast, and if he has any questions, he can call in himself. How about that?
I'd love to chat with him. I really would, and I'll be nice.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks.